something different here. You might hear music in the background, you may not. I don't know. Like, this is where we are kind of trying something new. And yes, we are in my basement for another awesome segment with Wilson. In case you do not know, okay? We're here. I'm letting you know, okay? This is me to you. This is how it's gonna go. Um, we have had some car funness that we've been working on and kind of, yeah, kind of been dealing with and processing with. And so part of that is getting around to the office or stuff like that is a little difficult. The other part is today is a PA day, so my kids are at home. And there is some awesome benefits to doing crazy hours for a ministry. And one of them is that, part of that is I can work from home. That's also part of this like whole remote work capacity that I could do is that I'm able to work at home and be here with my kids, be able to spend some time, but also be here with you guys online. That's right, you guys. You guys are still awesome. And by the way, we do have someone also online. I'm hoping you guys are hearing the music. If not, I just spent like 15, 20 minutes trying to figure out something that didn't end up working anyways. And I might cry a little bit on the inside. But uh, we do have another person on here. We have a Tom. There we go. The Tom. He's in. Also, I'm using this as like my microphone slash earbud slash, things are going. It's so good. Yeah. He can totally hear me. I'm okay. Guys, we figured the home setup now. Wait, wait. No. No. Don't tell me. No. And you don't hear the music? Okay, so now it just looks like I'm weird and I'm talking to myself. Okay. There we go. All right. Well, so you guys don't get the music, apparently, which is a little sad because I don't know why. You should be able to have the music, but oh well. We're just gonna, or you don't get Tom. You're not allowed to hear awesome people like that. The only other method that I could think of right now, all right, is we can do it via here, where I don't have it here, and we have a Tom speaking through there, or we just stick to typing here for Tom, and then we have no music. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys? Tom's just gonna type. I'm just gonna ignore that. There's like no music. So this is the episode that Wilson went crazy. But really, it was gonna happen either way. So you're welcome to the craziness that is today. Man, yeah. If you notice in this cool corner over here, we have this awesome. When do you not go crazy? That's fair, Tom. Fair rebuttal. I mean, it's me. Hi, me. I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah, this is why I did get into singing professionally. Uh, it wasn't the money. It was just because of the sheer lack of talent. So, anywho, you guys might notice that there's this cool thing off to the side here. It's going to be staying there the whole stream because it's awesome. It's our RPG camps. I'm keeping on promoting. Trust me, it is a good time. Um, we have a game master camp and we have an adventurers camp. Essentially, it's D&D for 2 weeks. And depending on what your mode is for D&D or your interest, if you are a game master, reluctantly even, the Game Master Camp is meant to hone in your skills to make things even better for you to develop some skills to be able to tell stories, to build good story plots, to create awesome worlds that are engaging and involved for your players. And we're going to be having some people uh, as co-leaders, but also as like co-teachers alongside this, and having some real cool teachable moments on how do we view our world? How are we crafting the world around us? Because we're telling the story around us and what's going on. And so I want to encourage that for you guys, that this is an awesome opportunity for growth and development here. Um, the other part is the adventure camp. And this is for like if you are brand new to D&D, if you are brand new to checking out what D&D is like, this is great because then you are able to get in and learn from scratch. You are also going to be part of a campaign development with a few adventurers in one crew, and you're going to have a good time. It is good. Look at Nugs. I don't know what it is good means, Tom. Oh, like Nuggets like for his first ever. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. No, yeah. When we first did it with Nuggets, actually we did that as a March break kind of fun event that was going on, and Nuggets had never played D&D before, and now he's like, "Oh my goodness, this is fantastic!" And he did that then this past March break, and we had more people, and it was even more crazy and fun and amazing. So really, really, think about it. You could be as cool as Nuggets or as Tom. He left me to die the first time. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And it was awkward and fantastic all at the same time. That's 100% Tom. No, I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, that's RPG camp. Tom cried on the inside, people. Everyone, hashtag rep Tom. Hashtag justice for Tom. It's horrible. We're here for you, Tom. We're here for you. Um, he's laughing about it. That's important. But yeah, no, I want to encourage you guys to check that out. Also, we have this wonderful come and see dinner that is happening less than a week now. Hokey Dinah. And if you like dinner, and if you like supporting an awesome ministry that is actually seeing some cool impact, some cool impact in our community, as well as, outside of our community into even other countries, then I would love for you to join me at my table. You can go to qyu.ca/food, or not, not qyu.ca/food. That would have been awesome. qyu.ca/dinner. And you can say that you want to join my table. And if you and another person want to come on out, I know Tom really likes food. But Tom, you have to be willing to give a little donation, It's like a little, and no, your awesome services are not just the donation. Sorry, awkward moment. Now we sit uncomfortable like that awkward couple at a at a cafe. I am broke. Yep. Yeah, that's fair. College student vibes right there. Anywho, guys, that's what's been going on. That's the different things that are hitting up these days. And so now, who's ready for some steak? As far as scriptural steak, okay? Like, I don't actually have steak. He's like, I am. Yo, he's like so set. He's good to go. But we're gonna be hitting up, and yes, I actually have my physical Bible. Look at all these stickers, guys. Look at all these stickers. You too could have these stickers if you hang out with me more often and stuff. Hello, North Hill. Welcome to the club. Sorry that there's no cool music in the backdrop. Um, yeah, that's all I got really to say. It's just it's how we're going. And welcome to my basement. But yeah, we're doing the stream from home, and we're doing things a little differently today. And so yeah, we are going to be jumping into Psalm 99. And it's going to be a good time for chewing, a good time for reflecting. And so if you want to grab your physical Bibles or your digital Bibles or whatnot, come along, join us. Let us have some fun. And we're gonna dive. Tell them I appreciate the just look at them. Look at them. We're gonna do this. All right, we are hitting up Psalm 99. Again, this one doesn't have an author well, it has an author. It just they didn't feel like bragging how well they wrote this song. So that's why their name isn't at the start of it. People, come on. Be proud of your work. What is this? Okay, here we go. Psalm 99. The Lord is king. Let the nations tremble. He sits on his throne between the cherubim. Let the whole earth quake. The Lord sits in majesty in Jerusalem, exalted above all the nations. Let them praise your great and awesome name. Your name is holy. Mighty King, lover of justice. You have established fairness. You have acted with justice, the righteousness throughout Israel. Exalt the Lord our God. Bow low before his feet, for he is holy. Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel also called on his name. They cried to the Lord for help, and he answered them. He spoke to Israel from the pillar of cloud, and they followed the laws and decrees he gave them. O Lord our God, you answered them. You are a forgiving God to them, but you punish them when they went wrong. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his holy mountain in Jerusalem. For the Lord our God is holy. Some pretty big, hefty stuff that's going on here, right? Uh, a lot of praise, a lot of God is king and he is reigning. Hence why we went with the title The RIZZ King. And yes, a lot of you probably cringed as soon as you saw that title. You're like, ugh, RIZZ King? Ugh. Some of you, as old as I am, are like, Riz? How is Riz even like? And I get it's short form for charisma. Okay, I listen. I got grays in my beard. It doesn't mean I'm dead. Okay, like I may be older, but I am still around, and I do know some things. But here is just a sheer awesome power and representation of how God just is there. He is the authority, he is the king. And we've seen this previously in looking at Psalm 97 and how everything responds to God. Even yesterday when we were looking at how the very nature, the fabric of existence responds to how intense, how amazing God is. And working through that process of then like, oh snap, what do we do with this? How do we handle such an awesome God like that, right? And what does that mean for us when we are reading this currently? Because Psalm 98 had perspective that was looking at kind of like Eden-like focus, kind of like a return to the blessing, to have the good times, that things would be going right and stuff like that. But Psalm 98 here has a different feel. And I'm hoping you took some notes on, any imagery that sounds similar or words that pop out. I know if Rabbi were here, his big thing, notes, 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 100%, Tom, 100%. Good stuff. Um, I know that if it were the case of Rabbi being on here, his favorite saying is there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that hasn't been said before. And so we gotta take this in. We gotta look at where do we see these images or where do we connect these certain phrases and stuff like that. So let's go through it, break down, and we're gonna look at verses 1 to 5, then we're gonna go 6 to 8, and then we're gonna end on 9. So we got three. Oh, thank you. I don't actually have water today. I do have this very fancy schmancy. I gotta show this off. Look at that. Agents of Shield coffee mug. And I will say that it's hydrating a bit because it's cold coffee. I did a cold brew today. Yeah, we are doing it different. Um, however, I am low on creamer, so I decided to use milk, and then I also used Nesquik chocolate. Oh no, Tom's gonna come on over. He wants cold brew coffee. Um, You bring your creamer and we're good. That's all I'm saying. You bring your creamer, we're good. But this was gifted to me by an awesome dude. Uh, oh wow, Joseph Gurns. This was from a while back. And so Joseph Gurns, Joe, thank you, man. Thank you for the nice coffee mug. So we get to enjoy this. All right. Mm, mm. Different. Creamer would have been nice. We're working on it, guys. We're working on it. Working at home means different vibes, and we're good with it. All right. Rereading Psalm 91 or 99 verses 1 to 5. The Lord is king. Let the nations tremble. He sits on his throne between the cherubim. Okay. Pause. Between the cherubim. Right there, your brain should have an image. Should have a hold up. I know that thing. You should be thinking like the temple. You should be thinking actually like the Ark of the Covenant. So the Ark of the Covenant is this like golden chest that has long arms that the priests would carry and like specifically carried during the Exodus when they were in Sinai, no, like by Sinai. They built this and they were building the tabernacle, which is like essentially mini replication of God's throne room. That's the best way to actually approach it. Um, and inside it is the Ark of the Covenant, which on top of it are two cherubim that face forward to each other and are bowing. And in the space between the cherubim is actually called the mercy seat. And this is where it was stated that this is where God was. God's presence was there. And this is where the high priest would come in once a year and pour the blood of atonement on top of it as like a representation of like God, please forgive all of Israel for our messed up brokenness and stuff like that. And so right now, this image of the Lord is king, let the nations tremble. He sits on his throne between the cherubim, let the whole earth quake. You are like right there in his throne room. And instead of just only thinking of the Ark of the Covenant, now you are entering into his actual presence because that's what the whole point of the Ark of the Covenant was. Like it was a replication, a mini Earth version of what God's throne is, and he's got cherubim, which are known as like guardian angels, that are stationed around him and are the protecting force of like the heavenly space, the realm, and all that kind of stuff like that. So then now the Lord sits in majesty in Jerusalem, exalted above all other nations. So now we go from the temple and to the Holy of Holies. Now we're looking at Jerusalem, the city where the temple is built, where this Ark of the Covenant would be sitting in. And so it's God's presence, his lordship. Where does he reign? It's like how we would connect this to Greek mythology, how there's Olympus. Where does Zeus reign? Zeus reigns on top of Mount Olympus. This is his spot. This is his zone, kind of stuff like that. But here we have it biblically, God saying, I reign from Jerusalem. This is my spot. This is my territory. This is where I work it. So then, verse 3, let them praise your great and awesome name. Your name is holy. Why the name? Why is the name so important? The name in this case is the representation of God. When when Israel is being guided through the desert, there's an angel of the Lord that's represented, or the angel that bears his name. And I want you guys to kind of rework this a little bit in your head, okay? So angel of the Lord, we say angel and we automatically think like dudes with wings and like oh and all that. And typically people freak out as soon as they see them because they're so awesome. It's a thing. It's what happens. People freak out. But here's the other part of it. Angel actually within Hebrew and even within Greek means messenger. It means representative. It's someone that is sent to do something or to be a representation for something. So the angel of the name of the Lord, or the angel of the Lord, was the one that bore God's name, the one that was repping God in actions and words and thought. This is the same angel that was in the fire of the burning bush. This is the same angel that's guiding the people through the desert in the fire and smoke. And really, gonna throw this kind of thought at you guys, theologically speaking. This is where I stand on it. I really think that's Jesus. I really think that is God's presence, aka Jesus, aka the one who represented God, not just only like in the time frame when he was here on earth in person as Jesus Christ, um, but I believe there's different points where we have these Christophanies, is what they're called. Fancy schmancy way of saying Jesus popped in throughout the time stream. He is like the ultimate Doctor Who, except he actually knows what he's doing. Doctor Who keeps on messing up. I'm just saying. I'm just saying to all you Doctor Who fans, and I'm probably gonna get a hardcore flack from that from the fan base. I deserve it. Um, but he here is with him praise his great and awesome name, your holy name. The name of God was so powerful and so revered that even there was a different writing for it that you wouldn't actually say the name of God. And that was to revere it, to respect who God is and how he operates, right? And so they actually used words like Adonai, which actually means Lord, and they would use other words that were close to saying the name of the Lord, but it wasn't the actual thing. So it was like, oh, because the fear was if you mispronounced it, that you were going to incur the wrath of God, or like you've insulted him, and it's going to create a huge issue. And so in the midst of that, they created this different name. But here they're exalting God's name. They are revering him. They are honoring that. And by honoring someone's name, you are respecting them. You are lifting them up. Uh, didn't we talk about that yesterday too, or was it Tuesday? Um, oh, like the name of the Lord and all that. Um, the name of the Lord. I feel like maybe that was Tuesday. Yeah, yeah, I think that was on Psalm 96. Good point. Good point, Tom. Tom's making sure I'm not just repeating myself all the time here. Guys, this is why you need to have a Tom in your life. They help a lot. So here's the other side on this, right? So we've reached now Psalm 4, or verse 4. So Psalm 99, verse 4. Mighty King, lover of justice, you have established fairness. You have acted with justice and righteousness throughout Israel. Okay. So Mighty King, lover of justice, these are titles. These are attribute titles. So Mighty King, powerful. Like you don't want a lightweight king, right? You don't want one of those kings that are kind of like, and stuff like that. It's weird. Um, oh, yeah, sorry, Sammy. We're throwing things off because I'm not on my PC. I am on my iPad. Hence cheat codes of being able to stream here. Next time I might try my actual laptop and see if we can operate off of that. Because if we can do that, we found another cheat code. Then we'll just stream from there from then on. So we'll see about it. Thought for the future. For the future. Um, I'm afraid though what he was trying to redeem. I feel like he was gonna make me do a punishment wheel or something like that. Anywho, back on point. Verse 4, the mighty king, lover of justice, the one that like clings to justice, the one that holds close to justice. Oh, yell at Nuggets. Nuggets! We yelled at Nuggets. We did it, guys. We yelled at Nuggets. He's not even here to enjoy it. Flip the lid. Flip the lid. Um, but a lover of justice, one that wants to do what's right, and hence why you have established fairness, you have acted with justice. So reinforcement of the justice that it's not just a lover, he responds in justice. He does the right thing in justice. And having established fairness and righteousness throughout Israel. So establishing is something that you do as a proactive thing to build off of, right? To establish things, you're starting off a precedence. You're making the the foundation on fairness here, and that fairness is also the righteousness throughout Israel. So that is what God is establishing. That's what God's heart is, and that's what he does when he shows up. He's the one who brings righteousness. He's the one who makes it right. He's the one who makes it fair. So then what's our response? Out of knowing God's throne room and where he dwells, how we lift up his name and we see him as majestic. He is the one above all nations. He is the king of above all nations. We then exalt the Lord. We say, dude, you're like legit. Like you're awesome. Like a good king deserves exaltation, right? Like they're a bad king, you're not exactly gonna like be hyping them. You catch what I'm throwing down here? Like it wouldn't make sense to hype a tyrant. It wouldn't make sense to hype somebody who is crooked or tries to get ahead on their own terms or tries to do their own thing. No, like that just doesn't make any sense. And here we have it. Here we have it that we are able to say we exalt the Lord our God. He's our God. We're blessed to be the ones who are following him. Bow low before his feet, for he is holy. You may go like, whoa, that's subjugation. Actually, that's what happens when you enter into the Holy of Holies. Because we started off in seeing like the Holy of Holies, the throne room, right? When you go to a king, and this was actually well known within the Medes and Persians, you need to show your station, right? You need to show that you are not higher than the king. In fact, the best representation I would say this occurs in is Japanese culture. And yes, I'm gonna nerd out on Japanese culture here, so you just deal with it. Within Japanese culture, you are supposed to know where your standing is amongst the people around you. Sounds horrible, sounds judgmental, but this is just how their honor system, this is their respect system, kind of stuff like that, that goes on. And to know where you are at then also determines how low you bow your head and like and saying like hello to somebody. If the person is of a higher status or higher standing than you, they aren't supposed to bow their head as much. Like they kind of like do like a semi nod. But if you are of a lower standing, you need to be for sure bowing lower than the other person. It's a respect. It's a realizing where you kind of stand in the midst of it all. And the reason why I bring this in here is that when a priest, so the high priest, right, which is technically like the highest status amongst the faith-based things of the Israel community, right? Like high priest is a big deal, and they got to do a lot of prep, and they're the ones who have all the wisdoms. They should know the Torah, they should know God's laws, you name it. When they enter to the Holy of Holies, there's this very thick curtain, and there's no slit in the center. It is all one piece curtain that is super dense and thick. And the only way that you are able to enter it is by literally ducking in underneath. You have to bow and scoot down to be able to enter in. And immediately when you enter in, you would then see the whole, like, you'd see God's throne, the mercy seat. You'd see the Ark of the Covenant right there. And you are immediately known for where you stand with God. He is worthy of praise. He is holy. You bow before him. And so in this way, the bow low before his feet, for he is holy, you're already understanding God is holy. He is perfect. He is worthy of his station. We need to realize that. We need to be humble before him. Okay, we all got that? So this is the temple part that we saw in verses 1 to 5. It's we kind of have like the semi-temple vibe, and the power and authority that comes out of that is that God's superior over all things. Not to like trash talk, but he does have the Riz. He's got the capacity. He is the one who is powerful. All right, verse 6. Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Okay, so we're talking about the people that could interact with him. Samuel also called on his name. These are people that were very close by. In fact, when Samuel first hears God speaking to him, he was in the tabernacle. And specifically, he was there to keep the fire for the lampstand, the menorah, that was always on and always supposed to be burning because it shows God's presence. So he's supposed to be there, and he's right in the midst of the holy place, but then that curtain separation, he's literally about 10 feet, maybe at most, away from the Holy of Holies. And there he hears God saying, Samuel, Samuel, Samuel. And it's like things start clicking when you start realizing how things are laid out. I'm just saying, this is really cool. I hope you're nerding out on this. I am. But Moses and Aaron, these are the guys that were able to enter into the tabernacle. Same with Samuel. They cried to the Lord for help, and he answered them. The name of Samuel is one heard by God. Legitimately, these were the men, and the reason why it goes Moses, Aaron, Samuel was because really that's how the station of hearing things went, was God and Moses were tight buds. And in that closeness that's tied to that Moses would have heard from God. Then Aaron, who is the high priest, he should have heard from God. And that was like a hit and miss kind of vibe. But Samuel, who technically shouldn't have had to have been a priest, became a priest because he was dedicated by his mom, heard God, and then became a priest in that stead. It's kind of crazy. He spoke to Israel from the pillar of cloud, and he followed the laws and decrees he gave him. Ah, I like that. He spoke to Israel from the pillar of cloud, and they followed the laws and decrees he gave him. Again, that presence, that fire, that part where this Christophany showing up in the fire and cloud. God would speak, and people were supposed to answer. This is the powerful image. This is what happens when a king lays out a decree. And that's why specifically it's saying decree. You're thinking of kingship, you're thinking of authority, you're thinking of reigning, and you're hearing from the king what needs to be done. O Lord our God, you answered them. You were a forgiving God to them, but you punished them when they went wrong. We may not like that part, okay? Because, like, Lord, you answered them, you were a forgiving God to them, but you punished them when they went wrong. This is a hard part that we don't really necessarily like when we read about God, is the factor of, like, he does give grace, but then there's a point where justice needs to be laid down, stuff needs to be dealt with, kind of stuff like that. And we don't like that per se because, that means, oh shoot, like there's some broken stuff inside me. Like there's some stuff that's gonna need some working. I don't know how I feel on that. But the thing is, if he's a righteous God, if he's a God that believes in justice and does justice and all this, like he's got to do it. He's got to do this. And if we kind of treat it as like, well, like God, do you really have to? Like God, is this really the th-? It's like, No, yeah. Do you want a just God or do you want a God that just kind of like who cares? And that's not right. Like that's just simply not right. We want a God that does care, that God sees, that God is able to respond to injustice, and part of that injustice is us. And so we are thankful that He is forgiving, but we also have to deal with the consequences of that too. That we realize we wrong Him and we wrong each other, and that's not cool. God does not like that. And so we have to work that out together. So here it is that in this segment, we're talking about not just being in the closeness and proximity of God's presence, but now it's then what do we do when we hear it? When we are in His presence, we need to not just only hear His decree, but then do His decree, to follow that decree. And and we need to realize sometimes that decree is a hard call out, but also there is grace that's extended. There is peace that can be had that's not earned by us, but it is grace that can be extended to us because we are broken. And I appreciate looking at the Old Testament in that way because the amount of times God gave grace to people that just kept on pushing and pushing and like he had to he had to deal with it and he was good on it. But he did call them out on what was going on. He did say like, dude, like this is not cool. This is not right. This is broken. Like we can't just keep going this way. But he kept on pursuing them. He kept on loving them. This is why like the book of Hosea, which I highly recommend anyone like just sitting down and chewing on it, really shows God's persistent love in the midst of what really could have just made sense that God would have just bailed out on people. Like it would have made sense. And yet he still loves on us. He still cares about us. He's still invested in us. And that's what we need to remember. That's the thing that we need to hold on to. That's why it's important for us to hear his decrees and to follow it. All right. Verse 9. We're doing good, guys. We're actually doing really good. We are going by quick. Exalt the Lord our God and worship his holy mountain in Jerusalem, for the Lord our God is holy. Interesting how exalt the Lord has happened twice in here. Nothing new under the sun. But in that one, it was in verse 5, exalt the Lord our God. Yeah, they're word for word on that one. But in verse 5 is, but bow low before his feet, for he is holy. Exalt the Lord your God and show it in your posture toward him. Honor him in how you see him, how you respect him, how you are listening to him. And then exalt the Lord your God and worship his holy mountain, this place that he's dwelling in, Jerusalem. For the Lord our God is holy. Worship, like come close to him. Don't just bow low, but come close to him. Worship. Share about how he has done amazing things. Part of worship is thankfulness, part of demonstration of following him. Worship is not just music. Worship is not just lip service. Um, More often than not, God sees worship as you are doing something. You are following something that He has told you to do. You are responding to something that He has said. Worship is being thankful for how He has been there for you, has taken care of you, and has invested in you or has saved you. That's all part of worship. So, kind of cool stuff here, guys. So here's my challenge, okay? Here's the level up moment, so to speak. Aggression, voice, yelling. Ah, I gotta find a spot to put my Bible. It's because I had a plate. That's why. All right. Here's the level up challenge that I want you to sit on and to work on. When you pray, when you were taking time and praying to God, and that's me just jumping that you might do it. You maybe haven't, and maybe you don't. You feel like, dude, I don't know how to pray. You feel like almost like you're entering into a space. You're like, dude, I don't know, like what's the deal with that, like cherubim stuff or like whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying that you need to be an expert, and really to talk to God, you don't need to be an expert. What God honestly is looking for is an honest heart, a willingness to come to Him, and a willingness to to be with Him. Half the battle of prayer is just getting our mind into that. My former boss had a great phrase, pray until you pray. And what he's meaning by that is pray until you are really honing in and focusing with God. Now, some of you are like, dude, I don't have enough time to do that. Like that's a lot of effort. Fair point, right? Like we all have busy things that we were doing and stuff like that. And at night we kind of want to veg, we just kind of want to do our own thing. But I will say this, when we take that time seriously, when we look at that in seriousness of like, pray until I pray, I'm like legitimately, it's like me sitting with my wife and I'm listening till I'm listening. And some of you gents are like, oh, whoa, 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 man, like what is it? It's like, no, that's like a comparative note there. I can sit and say I'm listening to my wife, but if I'm not actually paying attention to her, if I'm not like responding in kind, asking for clarity, um, if I'm not honestly trying to understand where my wife is at, am I actually listening? Am I actually having a conversation? Or am I just more or less entertaining my wife just for the sake of, well, I'm gonna have you feel like you're being heard when actually I'm just like, I'm over here in La La Land doing another thing. That's not actual listening. And that's also not actual prayer. Prayer in the response of like how we connect with God, how we are communicating with Him, is a factor that we are not only bringing our concerns, which we typically do. We tend to treat God like this genie that we bring up these concerns, like, oh, hey, God, like this thing, or like, God, I want you to bless this thing that I'm doing, or you're just going to do this and stuff like that. And we just kind of go at God like, oh, there's this thing that's going on with my family. There's this thing with my great aunt. But then we don't actually sit and we don't actually go, okay, God, all that stuff is going on. There is a ton of things that my brain is racing. And I guarantee you, you guys have like stuff that's mulling in there. And it will get you distracted in prayer. Like it's funny how like you can think, oh, like my brain's nothing, but as soon as you go into prayer, your brain gets distracted. Like 50 squirrels are running around. But like the thing that I want to throw down is if we genuinely sit in the moment and we genuinely bring our concerns, but then we actually genuinely go, okay, God, these are my concerns, but I want to hear what's concerning you. And I actually want to know where you are at with me. I want to know what you have to say for me. I want to know what am I missing out on. And not that it's going to solve everything, but like that it makes us closer, that it draws us closer to each other. That when we are sitting here, I can know genuinely that I am waiting, as Samuel did. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Are we doing that? Are we realizing the awesomeness that we get this great opportunity to walk into the throne room of God? Hebrews talks about that. It's pretty awesome. You get to walk in front of this almighty, powerful being who is more powerful than all other nations and stuff like that. And that's a big thing to chew on, right? Because there's like tons of nations. There's like superpowers around in the world, right? But then above that is like spiritual realm stuff like that. But do we come at it with that reverence? Do we come at it with that That like, dude, like, wow, I get to do this? Or do we kind of just go like, okay, God, here's this week's laundry list. Okay, good, and I'll come back when I start seeing some progress. Like we had Moses, Aaron, and Samuel mentioned, and of all honesty, the two that I would respect the most would be Moses and Samuel because they actually interacted with God. They wanted to hear God's heart and they were willing to have conversations with him. Aaron just showed up to do a job. It's kind of weird, right? Like these were men that were very close to God. And this is before the time of the prophets, like before Elijah and Elisha and all that stuff. But they had a closeness with God. They had a relationship with him that was different. And that's because they were actually having conversation with God. They wanted to know more. Aaron shows up just because it's his role. Moses and Samuel show up because it's really a relationship. That's why they're able to hear from God. That's where they're able to hardcore follow God. Like Samuel was intense, man. Moses was intense. Do you ever want proof of that? Just read throughout the Old Testament on Moses alone and how he would hear from God and how he responded. Or look at Samuel and his sheer focus on listening to God and calling out a king who was not willing to do that because the king was more afraid of how people were going to respond to certain things. Like it's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. But that's the challenge here, guys. That's the truth. Are we spending that time and being reverent with God, and are we praying until we pray? Are you praying until you pray? I'm not saying you have to all of a sudden see heaven's doors open up and like stuff like that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is there is a difference in when we pray, when like we pray until we pray. It's our posture. It's our it's our heart's posture toward God. That instead of we are coming with these laundry lists, we actually sit and listen for God to speak, to give us guidance, to affirm us, to challenge us. And that can be a hard one too, but it's good. It is so good. So, yeah, are you praying until you pray? And if you aren't, you need to pray some more. You maybe instead of taking out just a couple of minutes to pray, maybe you need to take 15 minutes. And you might go, dude, 15 minutes? Do it before you go to bed. Or the very first thing that you do in the morning, give yourself some space and time, but do 15 minutes where you are just literally sitting with God and going, hey, God, before anything else starts, I want to be here with you. Before anything else happens, I want to be here with you. It's a good challenge. See how it goes. See how it changes your day, but also your week if you keep on going at it. So, anywho, now's our time for prayer requests. So if you got any prayer requests, throw them down over here. Yeah, that's right. We have a cool chat box. Those of you listening on podcasts, you're like, there's no chat box. Well, throw it in the comments. That's why we have a comments section, is that if you want to comment on how beautiful my voice was. No, I'm just kidding. But if there's prayer requests that you have on there, throw it there, and then we can have it put up into our prayer support channel on Discord. But we pray for each other. We honestly take that seriously, and it's cool to see how people respond to that. So if you got prayer requests, throw them on down now. I get to enjoy my cold coffee. I feel like Tom is somewhere else. Could be wrong. Could be. Whoa. Okay. You guys didn't get to hear it. I got to hear it, but Tom just gave me an earful. Oh, that hit harder than the coffee. Goodness. So, yeah. We're gonna keep on praying for Solomon, guys. I haven't had an update yet from Solomon on what were the results of some of the tests that happened yesterday for him. This kidney stuff sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not fun. It's kind of rough. Who's yelling at me? What is this? Okay. Yeah, no news from Solomon. Sad story. So, but we'll keep on praying for him. Keep on checking in and seeing how he's doing. So, yeah. Yo, Rabbi, dude, you're late. We finished up. We did Psalm 99. Boy, boy, what is this? Rabbi always comes in at the most interesting times. What? Yeah, we're done. I don't think I am late. Wait, are you pulling the whole like Gandalf wizard? I am neither late nor am I early. Oh, oh, you're gonna. Okay, okay, okay. That's all I'm gonna say. That's just, he's picking a fight with us, guys. Yeah, we're just throwing down prayer requests right now. Rabbi, can we be praying for you for anything? I know you had brought up a while back for work and stuff like that. Look here, sir, I came when I came, and that's what I came. That's that's a fair rebuttal, Rabbi. Fair rebuttal. You did show up when you did show up, and that you showed up. It's better than not showing up. That's important. Um, you still wanting prayer for work or stuff like that? Were you able to find work, Rabbi? Because I know that was something that you were kind of mulling over and working through and trying to find uh, some work. I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking to air. That's all it is. Just air. I don't have a job still. Okay, so we'll pray for that. Keep praying that, you know, there will be a job opening for stuff that you will really enjoy. And in the midst of this, this is good family time and connecting. But yeah, so we're going to pray for a job for Rabbi. We're going to pray for a job for Tom as he goes job hunting at some point. And so there's that goodness that will be happening as well. Um, yeah, the answer is sorry. Are you asking if I'm some sort of parasite on society because I no. The answer is yes. I did not say that, Rabbi. That's not where I was going on for that. I just was checking. Um, I just well, I just want to pray. Just want to pray. That's all I want to do. Cool. All right. We parasites do better in colonies. Oh boy. That's why tent cities exist. Oh my word, he went there. He said it. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. On that note, we're going to keep on going forward. So prayer for Rabbi, prayer for Tom, prayer for Solomon. Uh, hmm. I hope the tents have good fiber internet. That's funny. Guys, I'm gonna ask for prayer on not just for my car, because we already found out the answer for costs and stuff like that, and so there's just like working through that. Um, I'm gonna pray for patience in the midst of this whole time where we don't have a car, because that can really cause some strain and frustration and all that goodness. So prayer for that. I'm praying for unity for my family. Um, there's been a few things that have been hitting us with heavy life stuff, and it's really kind of exposing some areas that we are needing to work on as a family. Um, yeah, it's bringing some real heavy light on it, and so just prayer that we'd be coming together more rather than feeling like we've been slowly having the schism and division. Yeah. And just prayer that we have God's guidance in the midst of all of this. Like that sounds like such a light platitude of just like, oh well, God's guidance. It's like, but like that we would honestly hear God, we would obey Him, just like we were sitting here in Psalm 99. The idea that we are sitting as like people who are getting to engage in God's presence, but then what do we do if we just only throw our stuff in the presence? We need to be listening. We need to be people that hear from God and sit and listen, and then when He tells us something, we need to do it. So I'm praying that that'd be happening, and the more I do that, we see God's hand at work on that. So so yeah, we're gonna do that. All right, let's pray. God, I thank you for this time where we've been able to read through Psalm 99 and see how awesome you are, your dominion, your power, your presence, and how we are blessed to be able to even just meet in prayer with you. That's such an honor for us. We're not worthy of being in your presence, but yet you want us to draw close to you in prayer so that we can hear you, so we can come close to you. You want that relationship with us. You want that connection with us. And you are totally worthy of praise. And you're awesome in power and might. And you have a heart for justice. You are a lover of justice. And you bring righteousness where you go. Um, God, I honestly pray that we would be coming to your presence to hear what you have to say, that we'd submit ourselves to listen to you for encouragement, for guidance, for correction, for comfort. Help us to draw near to you. Help us to sit with you. Help us to pray until we pray. God, I pray for Tom and Rabbi who are looking for work, who are um, wanting to be able to well have income for Rabbi to take care of his family, and for Tom to be able to just be able to do things, to be able to live life, to enjoy the benefits of the job, which are having money to be able to do things. Um, so God, I pray that as they go about that, as they search for work, that you would be bringing them to the right spots for interviews, for people to get connected, to have good, solid work that pays them well and takes care of them and those around them. That they would be able to love on other people in their work, both at the workplace and afterwards, and being able to spend time and bless other people too through the fruits of their labor and the grace that you've given them in work. God, I pray for Solomon. We don't know how he's doing. We don't know what results he's got or how that's going. But God, we just pray that you'd be with him in the hospital, that you would be hearing his concerns. You'd be hearing where he is at. And I pray that he would be able to experience you even in the hospital, that he would be able to draw close to you in the midst of this cancer and this infection. Thank you for his honest mindset, his loving heart for people, and how he just shows your heart to all. Be with them and bring healing to them. Help them through this process. I ask this here. Uh, and God, I pray for my family. I pray that we'd be drawing closer. I pray that today is a day that um, I get to enjoy some time with my kids. Thank you for a PA day. Thank you for the capacity to be able to work at home. Um, thank you for awesome interim director, interim executive director who loves on my family. I thank you for two awesome bosses that have done that. Thank you for that blessing, God, for their discerning hearts and awesome, awesome mindsets throughout all of that. God, I pray that you help our family with our unity. There's been a lot of stuff that has been pushing at it, and a lot of different circumstances that have made things hard. God, I pray in the midst of that hard stuff, we would actually be forged together closer and stronger through it, united as a team that's following you and your lead. Pray that we would hear you, that we take time to listen to you and follow your direction. Help us in that. We ask this in your name. Amen. All right, guys. That was our special promptu stream. And Tom already had to peace out. I guess he was like going to punch some demons in the face. That's what I think he does, at least. Um, but yeah, guys, I hope you are having a good day. Um, if you ever need to chat, we are on our Discord community, and you can hop on there. If you want to find out all these links to all the goodness, you can check us out on Instagram or Facebook at GW Nerds, and we are there. And in our bio link, yeah, our bio link, we have our link tree that connects you to everything and all things that is GW nerdiness goodness and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so don't be shy. Join this community that loves to pray, be there for one another, and encourage one another, because that's what we do, and point to an awesome relationship with God that you can have, a relationship with Jesus. So, yeah, without further ado, guys, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for being here throughout the stream and being here in my basement, because it's the cool basement that's blue and stuff. Um, I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you have an awesome weekend. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Because, yeah, we'll see you guys on Tuesday. So, take it easy.